Hello, my name is Venus Piñeiro. Welcome to Ask Tía María. We live in a society today that is characterized by an epidemic of loneliness. I would say that this loneliness is also characterized by an epidemic of misinformation. I grew up in Monterrey, Mexico, and part of our culture was having access to what we say the tías, our aunts. When you went to your tías, you could ask questions that would guide you. You could use them as sounding boards. Basically, it was a safe space where you could speak about any topic and be able to get answers of someone that cared about your well-being and your future and your happiness. Ask Tía María was created with this purpose. We will be talking about many different subjects that are relevant to you, to today's world, for people of all ages. With us is the OG Tía María. I am so blessed and so lucky to have actually my mom that has been guiding me throughout my life and also actually guiding hundreds, if not thousands, of people in her earlier life. Mami, would you mind introducing yourself?
Gracias, mijita. I'm happy to be here finally starting this project for you and for many people that can be reached through this opportunity. Tía María is a project that you can access in the local media, and also that will be available for you, not only recorded, but also later on that you can come back to the topics as they may be of your interest to review again the questions and the answers that we can be providing to you. My past life was in Mexico, and where I was lucky to serve as a psychologist for more than 25 years. And the following 30 years have been here in Austin, more in the research world. But always the idea of continue to talk about the topics of human relationships have been present, and this is now the time to do it. And what best than to talk with my daughter, and also with the questions that you may bring us to our table to consider.
Thank you, Mami. So the first topic that we want to talk about is something that every single one of us engages in throughout our life and also on a daily basis, and that is relationships. I love this quote by Ruth Bader Ginsburg, a Supreme Court Justice that I admired very, very much. And she said that the best decision of her life was choosing her husband, that he was a source of professional and personal support and growth, and that in many ways having him in her life made her to be able to do some of the very difficult things that she did. So again, we see in movies relationships that don't always show the best models. And I have a 14-year-old, and I really care about all of us really being able to understand what is a good relationship. So I would like to start by asking you, what are some of the characteristics of a good relationship?
Well, that's a very important question, and that's maybe one of the key components of a happy life, to have love in our relationships. And learning to love is a challenge. It's a challenge because life not only gives us parents that can teach us how to love, and we don't have a clear idea or a good idea of what are we looking for when we are trying, as you say, Maria Pilar is about to start her journey on relationships in young adulthood, and just finding out how can you choose your companion and what to look on that relationship to see if that components that can make you happy are present.
You made me think about something, a saying that they say, oh, it hurts so good. Do you think that that applies to love? Because you're talking about love and learning to love. Do you think love should hurt so good?
No. Definitely no. Unless you are talking about the initial period of a relationship where the yearning is so intense that it feels painful.
Mm.
But otherwise, not from the behaviors on one person to the other. But if it's because it's intense the desire to be together, if that can be considered a pain, when that cannot happen because life has to continue, then
It definitely hurts sometimes.
yes.
So, okay, what are the top 3 things that you think make a good relationship?
Well, unfortunately, to make a good salad, 3 are not enough.
Hey, you can make a BLT with 3 ingredients, right? Bacon, lettuce, tomato. It doesn't work like that with relationships.
Love requires more ingredients.
Okay,
And so
I agree.
You start with unconditional acceptance of the other person. And the other person comes with whatever baggage they come from life and the good things that they pick up throughout their years of growing and the bad things also. So in order for you to really be able to feel loved by the other person needs to accept you unconditionally, and also you have to provide the same acceptance to the person.
It's a 2-way street. It can't be just somebody loving, accepting unconditionally.
No.
And I corrected myself because loving unconditionally, now that I am a mother, I would say, I think that only happens with my child. But accepting unconditionally is something that you can have and give to each other.
Yes, you arrive to the best definition of love, the love we feel for our children. In unconditional,
Which I've experienced in many truckloads of.
Unconditional acceptance of the gift that you have when you bring a new life to this world. So that is what every child deserves. That's what we as parents are meant to provide to our children. Unfortunately, many children are born in conditions that do not allow for that unconditional acceptance.
So it's almost like some people have already the advantage of learning the aspect of unconditional acceptance through their parents, but some people have not. And yet you're saying that one of the most important things in a relationship is bilateral unconditional acceptance.
It's true. And it's sad and it's hard to think that not everybody, not every child that is born comes to life on the best conditions. And that's why we exist as psychologists, to be able to help people when they did not experience that unconditional acceptance. Rejection, when that's your first right, to be accepted unconditionally when you are born.
So knowing that life is not perfect and you're talking about unconditional acceptance, tell me a little bit more about what does it feel like to be unconditionally accepted? What does that mean when you're starting a relationship and you are seeking that unconditional acceptance?
Well, it means that you can see eye to eye and feel comfortable with the other person encountering you on the deepest area of your being. The eyes that encounter other eyes connect with your soul, with your most deep being.
So basically, it's about being accepted when you're in your most vulnerable state, when you're being the most genuine of who you are, and having somebody else see that and say, I see you.
And I love you.
And I love you,
Yes.
period.
Yes.
Okay. What would be the second thing?
Well, once you have that acceptance, you can have trust. I am safe with you. I feel safe. I can be myself and I can tell you about myself. My thoughts, my hurts, my wishes, my goals, my aspirations in life, I can communicate to you, because if you accept me, whatever is inside me, I can put it on the table and tell you about it.
So would you say a good relationship then talked about the acceptance, and then you talked about the ability to fully be yourself? And did you say being open as in communicating through that?
That's the next step. You need communication. And communication means telling you all the good things about you and all the bad things about you too. You know that you are not perfect, and you can share all of that with that person.
Communication is such a tricky thing nowadays. I know of a couple who actually communicated throughout the whole day with emojis. It was emoji, and not just one, like emoji, 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 and then response with emoji, 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 emoji. And when I looked at that, it was like, you know, from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. until they saw each other again, it was just emojis. And I was like, what are y'all saying? And I mean, they counted that as communication, but I'm really curious whether that is really substantial and sufficient enough to have that clarity of communication that you're saying is important in a good relationship.
In that case, on that couple, it depends on the circumstances. If they're in a meeting, they cannot text a lot of things, but they can put a little emoji, a little heart, or a little smile, or a little kiss that they are sending.
Yeah, but
I'm
not
thinking
like
of you, but I cannot text you all the
Okay.
things that I would like to share. So it depends on the circumstances.
Mhm.
So if that leads to, okay, whenever they get together, they hug, they express more of what's happening, or I miss you throughout the day, that's why I send you all those hearts.
Mhm.
So that depends. And communication has changed now with the modern tools that we have in our hands.
I'm sorry, I thought you were telling me something with your shoes.
No.
They were tapping on the floor.
I was excited.
Okay, so communicating openly, communicating genuinely, and knowing that you are safe in that communication and sharing of yourself.
So we have acceptance. We have, the next one is trust. I can trust you with my being, and I can communicate by expressing it, because you cannot wonder what is inside of me if I don't tell you.
Mm-hmm. We sometimes think that people can read our minds because it's so obvious to us, and yet we are a world inside of our own beings, and without expressing it clearly, often, then we have no idea what the other person is thinking.
It's absolutely true. You have to be willing to open yourself and be an open book, because you are not going to feel the acceptance unless you share it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
you know what I was telling my daughter the other day? 100% of the people will never like you. There's going to be people that like you and people that don't like you. But it's so important to be liked or disliked by who you are. And I think that's what you're getting to. You don't know if you're accepted unless you are really being open, because having a facade or showing an aspect of you that is not really you, then they're accepting somebody else, right?
yes. And then you don't feel in the depth of yourself, you don't feel really the acceptance, because that's not really you.
Okay. So you can't let that love come in,
Yes,
because who knows who they're accepting, but it's not you.
exactly.
Okay.
So the next, once you receive that treasure of receiving the person that is for you to love, then comes the desire of helping each other walk through life, grow through life. And that is mutual help. Mutual help to grow, to follow your dreams, to deal with your issues, to be helped with your problems or with the challenges of daily life or the challenges of work. And that mutual help also makes that common plant that you are growing, that common tree of your family or your relationship, grow together by mutual help.
So supporting each other.
Yes.
Even if your goals are different from mine, your interests are different from mine, I still value and try to understand why that is important to you and do whatever is in my power to support you to advance, to grow, to succeed.
And to really cherish the growth of the other person.
So being happy when somebody else is winning and not be jealous about other people, your partner's successes.
And you come to the next component, which is the sharing. You share vicariously the joys and the successes of the person you love.
What do they say? When you are in, I guess it doesn't have to be a romantic relationship, but when you are with someone that you care, your joys are multiplied and your sadness or griefs are divided.
Exactly. Yeah,
I got it.
That's what sharing does. The joy of your loved one is your joy, and you experience it double or multiplied. And if the person you love is sad, when you share that sadness, that person keeps only the half because you share that other half.
Going back to the original question, is it okay that love hurts? Then the answer is no, because if it's hurting you, it's hurting your partner, and most of us don't like to experience pain, so
Absolutely.
Love should not hurt.
No. And you should not hurt those that you love.
Yeah.
So all the things that you do, if they are gonna hurt the other person, then that means
That is not love.
not love.
That is not a good
You
relationship.
stop loving when you do things that hurt the other person. So that is the part of the sharing. Not only you share the good things, but also you share the suffering of the other person. And if by your actions you create hardship for the other person, or you create pain on the other person, then you are stop loving.
That is not love.
And that's part of the next step, which is the commitment. You are committed to grow with the other person in life.
I'm looking at your list, and you're right. It looks like a fancy cocktail here with a dozen ingredients. So I would like to continue our conversation and explore the other aspects of what is a good relationship.
We can continue
next time that
time.
we talk. And
Yes.
also, if you're willing, I'd like to touch on what is not a good relationship.
Okay.
And share what are some of the red flags to be aware of
Good idea.
when you're in a relationship. Well,
Join
Mami,
us for the next Tía María.
thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure. And
pleasure,
looking
too.
forward to continuing our conversation. Have a wonderful day.
Happy to be here with you.
Escuchaba tu zapateado, ma.
I'm